the contribution the international education students are doing beside their day-to-day operation. Now our lowest, our minimum wage? $24.95 per hour. Who on earth now in Australia would work $25 an hour? But the international students, they do work. So the contribution in many ways, I'm giving you the highest level when people can earn billions of dollars, but I'm also telling you that the minimum wage, in both dimensions, we are seeing the international students or the alumni are contributing to Australia.
G'day and welcome to Global Horizons. I'm your host, Rob Malicki, coming to you today from a place which honestly feels like home. I'm at the magnificent Wallumattagal campus of Macquarie University, and it feels like home because this is where I studied a long time ago and also worked in the past. And somebody who's also been here for some time is my guest today, Tanveer Shaheed. Thanks for joining me on Global Horizons.
Thanks, Rob, for inviting me.
Mate, it's fantastic to be here. You've been here for many moons now, 17 years. But just before we started recording, you said something interesting, which is, yes, I've been working for the same organisation for 17 years. But I've sort of been, it almost feels like working for 3 or 4 different organisations.
Absolutely. Even though, Rob, I didn't find you. We missed each other.
We did miss each other, didn't we?
For a few years, maybe. My journey started here 2008. And over 17 years now. And it's quite interesting that sometimes people do feel that, you are still there on 17 years. But to be honest, when the vice-chancellors change, when the deputy vice-chancellors, pro-vice-chancellors, leadership team change, it gives a different perspective as well for the team. That's happened with me as well. So literally, I sometimes when I look back, maybe 17 years back, what I was doing, it's completely different than what we are. And even the thought process, the design thinking, and all those sort of things have changed. And that hasn't changed over the time. It changed over a block of maybe 4 or 5 years. So that's why I was saying that as if we've been working in 3 different organizations over the last 18 years.
Different universities. I'll tell you what, even the physical space, for those people who are watching along, you can sort of see it in the background. But if you're listening along, Macquarie University's central courtyard is just this beautiful space, isn't it? Do you want to describe it for people who are listening along?
Oh, yeah. This is a newly built central courtyard. So, of course, we used to have this place, but lots of eucalyptus trees, if you can remember.
Trees,
But, of course, that's been knocked down and it's been nice green field and lots of new building. And the many interesting one of the interesting one is a 342 bed of accommodation inside the campus. And, of course, it happened before the NOSC and everything came up. We didn't build it for that.
But quite convenient that you did.
We did it. So lots of things have been changed in this. We have a new law school. We're just going to open the new engineering school. And most importantly, maybe you heard about our health precinct. So Macquarie is the only university having its own research health medical center and then the medical university, 130 beds. So, we are extremely happy and proud to be here.
Yeah, and look, from my perspective, I remember just behind us here is the old Lincoln building, which back in my day was just this old prefab concrete, 1960s brutalist sort of style building. It's been reclad. The library's been reclad. It's this beautiful grassy area, really lush vegetation everywhere. And this, honestly, a little bit biased because I spent so much time here, but it's one of my favourite student courtyards in all of Australia. You would have seen a lot of universities.
I know.
How do you feel as compared?
I think it's great. And one more thing, like we do have the metro. I'm not sure how did you manage to come here, but the metro really changed the way we got the staff and the students. And since being here for a long time, we used to struggle to find a good staff because we are so north and then the bus only way to travel or the car. But now having this metro every 4 minutes in the peak times, this is really great. And so we are having a better connectivity, 18 minutes to city. Yeah, all these things are really helpful.
Is that it? 18 minutes?
Yeah,
to get it down?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, sometimes you don't realize, like, we are just 18 minutes away from the city.
You know what? It makes me think of some of those big unis like Monash down in Melbourne that has, the connectivity is terrible.
Yeah.
And even like University of Sydney, to some extent, has no, really present super on, the buses, of course, but it's probably easier for you to get from Macquarie to the centre of the CBD than to get from USyd
Exactly.
The CBD, right?
Yeah. We don't need a timetable.
No.
Like we just walk in and then hop onto any of the available.
Tanveer, tell me about your background. How did you end up here to begin with?
Interesting. I migrated to Australia in 2002.
Yep.
Hard to remember, but yeah, that's the year. So I used to be a lecturer in computer science. That's my background, computer science and engineering. So when I came from South Asia, born in Bangladesh, I studied in India. And when I came here, I just thought that, okay, I need to study or I need to teach. Went to the PhD mode, like about to start. Coincidentally, on the same day, I had my PhD offer interview. And on the same day, I had my interview at Central Queensland University, Sydney campus for the admission officer role.
No way.
So which way to go? It was literally a toss of a coin, literally that much. And then I thought that, okay, let's go to the city instead of going to another university. And I ended up over there. And then when they said that, and then of course I had the admin role in my previous organization as well. I was the Department of Student Affairs in charge of that. You know, that the academics, being an academic, you have to have some other roles as well, administrative. By looking at that administrative role, they said that, okay, I think you're good enough. Like, let's try. And that was 2002 and could not get rid of this international education.
Holy smoke, like that's such a sliding door moment. Do you ever look back on that and wonder what life would be now if you'd taken that PhD?
Yeah, like we just recently met with that gentleman. I could have been an academic here. Yeah, but I don't regret, rather than I cherish my journey over the last 20 years in international education.
And in fact, I mean, you kind of walked in, international ed back in the early 2000s. For those that know,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like this rocket ship that was taking off to the moon. And it's actually CQ back in the day used to be just Central Queensland Uni, but I mean, it was really doing some, not wild in a bad way, but just some really innovative, dynamic stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like handful of unis like CQ, Wollongong, those were very popular in my countries in South Asia. Those were the time, like in late 90s. So yeah, from there, I knew even the name of that university before coming here. So it really resonated me that, okay, I should work in this sort of universities. So yeah, and then it's a history, like once the 9/11 happened, and then what we have seen that in Australia, how the international education grew. So it's a, exciting journey.
Am I getting this right? Was CQ the first to really attack that sort of capital city campus model? Am I remembering that correctly? Was there somebody else that had already sort of done that?
I think they are definitely one of the pioneers in Sydney. One of the pioneers, Yeah, they used to have the Meridian Hospitality School at that time. Yeah, and it wasn't of course, it was CQ, but yeah, I think they were one of them. Yeah. And then over there, I really learned the international admission offer letter and those sort of COEs and those sort of thing, and those faxing days.
Let's go there, because we're having lunch just before this podcast, and we both looked at each other and we said something like that, like, oh, do you remember when you used to fax applications across the world? We both just fell into laughter. What was it like back then? Because I think somebody coming in as a new admissions officer now, I mean,
oh yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely.
What was it like back then?
Hard to remember, but I still remember that you used to have that bunch of papers which used to be posted or faxed, and then they had to send those original certified copies. Even the fax copy, you still would need the certified original copies. So, oh my God, those were the terrible days. And then we used to post those letters back to them. My God. Yeah. When I joined here, 2008, I used to see that my desk used to have a pile of applications, like literally the physical application. And I asked my colleagues that what was wrong, like why these are sitting here like the pile? Because I came from CQ where we used to issue the admission offer letter within 48 hours or 24 hours. When I joined at Macquarie at that time, like it was a month. They said that that's the standard of Macquarie or Sydney or UNSW. You don't touch the application before a month. Yeah. So it was very shocking for me.
Once again, I guess CQ would have been one of the pioneers of that really super tight turnarounds. Yeah. Process fast, get people out, keep people engaged.
Yeah, those were the things. And of course, it was a genuine reasons. I saw that like the admission staff were engaged during the enrollment time. They used to do the manual enrollment, all those sort of things. So of course, were reasons not to able to finish those applications. But from there, then we were talking about the StudyLink and all those things have arrived. And now we are today talking about the AI, generative AI. So, yeah, looking forward to it, the transformation.
It's funny because even just sort of sitting here back on campus, 25, 30 years after I did my degree here, I can remember being here for enrolment day, which is a thing you'd get, get your papers, stand in a long queue.
Big days.
Go into a computer room, negotiate with someone about class times. They would manually enter it for you. You go to an academic advisor who'd sign you off. I mean, everything has changed so much in really just what's the blink of an eye, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we are looking forward to it. Nowadays, people don't need to come even. Like, it's all online. Sometimes now we are missing those days, and sometimes we are thinking that those are even better. Now we are struggling to bring the students on campus so that we can do lots of engagement. So our pedagogy changing a lot, because sometimes we are feeling that it's too much of online learning and the recorded classes. So academics and the teaching styles are now changing. We do have lots of projects-based learning, and so people need to come here at least once or twice a week. Otherwise, it's hard to bring them back.
How do you feel things are going to change with AI? Do you have a sort of view that's starting to form as to how that's going to shift not only learning inside universities, but society?
Of course. And being an university, we may see the first bit of it when the students started submitting their assignments. So
that came all at once, didn't it? It's like between one day to the next, suddenly there was this new thing everybody could use.
Exactly. So lots of changes been happening. Of course, we are enhancing the AI, and it's an ongoing process. There's no end of it. But at the same time, I think it's good for the students and the new generation. I'm always positive and looking forward to it. And the way we are emerging with AI in our classroom environment, our assignments, or the way we are marking the students, I think we are forefront. I think any Australian university are really coping well. But of course, there are bunch of opportunities of improvement as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. As you were talking, I'm sort of thinking about the enormous investment that it takes for institutions to adapt to this kind of change. While most of society just kind of floats along until it kind of gets dragged along, if institutions aren't ahead of that curve, it gets difficult really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm saying, like, being a university, I can literally see that we are the first adopter, because our assignment can be done, our students' assignment can be done within 5 minutes. And then that 30 marks, we can't give it away to the students. So, lots of behind the work, technology being taken care. And we are working on that. Even though I'm not an academic, touching base softly on this.
And so from a career perspective, potentially could have been an academic, now have sort of ended up on the international marketing side of things. That's quite an extraordinary journey to some extent. If you sort of think back to the young man that you were, do you think you would have been surprised to find yourself where you are now?
Absolutely. You would agree that in our time, there were no international education, and forget about the careers and the profession. Now we are talking here 240,000, even in Australia, only international education related professionals are there. So that's really amazing. And it's a great journey, lots of fun, and those sort of people lucky enough to travel most of the part in the world, lots of good memories, lots of friends beyond the cultures. So really enjoyed a lot, and still doing.
Did you have a favourite place in the world? Other than home, of course. I count home as here and maybe Bangladesh as well. But anywhere else that's a favourite place in the world?
I think there's no such one place, I would say, to be honest. And seriously, because I do get the students at Macquarie while working here. We get students from over 100 different countries. And to be honest, personally, I love each of the countries, each of the places. And I think that is the thing, the hat we are putting here in international education, that as a global citizen, we see ourselves and we see the other people even in the same shoes, that all are friends, that politics, we know that's the culprit or whatever the way we like to describe. But there's no such favorite place. All the places I visited, all the people I met, of course, really fond of my memories.
It's interesting. I mean, just as you were speaking there, it just sort of made me think about social license and the fact that, how an international student might perceive an Australian university is so different to the way an Australian prospective student or an Australian citizen, for example, might see universities. Do you think that's true?
I think so. Not only we are reading in the media or seeing in the media or everywhere, but even when we as a personally, we are communicating with our local people and they just see us, we are bringing the international students. That's it. Sometimes they don't realize that what else we do, whether you work in the Mac Abroad or admission team or all the strategy team. For them, for the local community, international education means you're bringing the international students. But that's the social licensing, I think, what we are challenging, this housing crisis and all these things started blaming. And then people started believing on those things. But they don't understand that what else these international students, or when we are doing the engagement with the overseas universities and the government agencies, what sort of soft diplomacy we do for this country. That people don't realize that one. Not only that, like we manage, like any Australian university, it's not only the international students. We work with the various organizations, local organizations, and that's our job. And that's equally important because if we don't do those things, then we will only get those international students. So it is an ecosystem and we all working on that. And while we are talking also the social licensing, I like to highlight one particular thing personally for me. I work for a charity organization and we do, the Australian biggest morning tea by the Cancer Council New South Wales.
Absolutely.
And so I've been doing this Cancer Council New South Wales fundraising for the last 20 years, the time I arrived, but for the last 7-8 years, I'm quite involved and for my community. I'm the chief coordinator. And once I do that sort of thing, people do recognize me. And then the second thing they ask that, okay, who is this gentleman and what do you do? And that sort of thing, I think when you do a community work and giving back to the community, and then people do realize that, okay, this international education or these academics are not only within themselves, whereas they do go out of their campus and then they do that sort of community-based program. That is, I think, one missing piece in our professional career. We always look for traveling, professional work and all these things. But beyond that, I think time has come then when we are talking about the social licensing, looking at the government or the policy level, we can think that what being an individual, what we can contribute as well to hold up and uplift our social licensing for international education.
Over lunch, we were talking about this and you're sort of saying, Macquarie has this extraordinary campus, 142 hectares. 126. Listen to me exaggerating. 126 hectares of amazing land, like tens of thousands of people, 45,000 students. It's like a mini city, right? You don't even have to stray outside. And yet we maybe forget the fact that just like you're saying, we have this remit that touches so much else of society, but we're so busy inside our little city that maybe we don't share as many of those stories outside as we need to.
Yeah. And of course, in this mini city, we always get that tertiary qualified people. And so that's another piece that we need to understand, that when you're going beyond this place, you're mixing with lots of different levels of people and you're communicating, you're putting yourself, whether it's up or down, doesn't matter, but it's a challenge. You're putting yourself in a challenge, you're coordinating, you're challenging yourself. But that's small effort because we do get here all the best knowledge, best management style, best of the best, as if we were talking about the AI and all this sort of thing. We get all this sort of knowledge here in our professional career or being an academic here. But why don't we execute those things in our community setting beyond the classroom environment? So that's all I've been trying to adopt. And really, it's helpful. Like we have found that you'd be happy to know that over the last 20 years, my organization raised over nearly $500,000 for the Cancer Council New South Wales.
Wow.
We are one of the biggest community-based donor for the Cancer Council New South Wales. Every year they give us a nice certificate and all those sort of things. So we're really happy.
I don't know if Macquarie has this or any other uni for that matter, but is that something that the institution keeps a record of? The fact that you're in... I know some institutions give volunteering days and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if, institutions keep central repositories of all of this impact? You know what I mean? Probably not.
No, probably not.
Probably not,
Yeah. But we do have the voluntary day. We can take around 3-4 days in a year. So certainly, they're supporting, always supporting.
Yeah, that's quite incredible.
You can't afford to miss the Australian International Education Conference happening the 14th to 17th October at the National Convention Centre in Canberra. AIE sees the place to meet over 1,500 international education delegates from Australia and overseas. Build your own learning schedule, gain insights from sector experts, new research findings, and spark ideas at lively discussion sessions. Plus, there's plenty of networking opportunities, from the expo hall to brain dates and social events. Don't miss out. Make sure you're at AIEC 2025. Registration is open now. Learn more at aiec.idp.com.
For those people listening along at the time of recording this, we're recording in September 2025. Things have seemed to have settled down a little bit on the international policy side of things. How do you feel things are tracking from your perspective with current policy and maybe where things are going in the next period of time?
Yeah, no, now with the new government.
And just so you know that you'll be quoted on this in 20 years' time.
I know.
Someone get it wrong, Tanveer. Actually, it's a chance to be bold because we can always go back and edit this later.
That's true.
Oh, we cut out your prediction. We use AI to edit it, so you can say.
Sorry. I think that, of course, the expectation is high with the new government, with such a popular government, with the way they have come. So we like to see some really impactful changes. For an example, we really need the ESOS Act Amendment Bill, which came and didn't come at all at last. But there are so many good things where they are in that ESOS Amendment Bill. I think we really do need those things for the sustainability of this sector. But at the same time, early days, what we are seeing that very positive news. The government has given the extra allocations, the higher education and overall sector. At the same time, the tone is a bit down, I can say, in compared to the
heat has come out.
Heat has come out compared to the last 12 months. So, we are looking forward to it, but there are heaps needs to be done as well. Yeah.
Just before we hit record, a professor came wandering across the courtyard and grabbed your hand and shook it firmly, and you guys started having a laugh. And I said, "Oh, Tanveer's going to be on the podcast." And he said, "Oh, this is your guy. This guy loves marketing. Everything to do with marketing. He loves marketing. Why do you love marketing? And how did it get into your soul?"
No. I did after my computer science, I did an MBA in marketing as well. I think I'm a bit natural in storytelling, and I think I got it from my mother. She was a great leader in space, and I think it was a bit natural from blood. But love to. As I was saying, that I started in admission. When I understood that the root cause, how the admission works, that really helped me to transform myself in the business development and the marketing end, because I could really change the thing. I could really understand the root cause. Where's the problem or where's the opportunity? That really helped me to success in the business development side, what I'm today.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because I think for people earlier in their career, they might not see how all these pieces fit together. I mean, you see it in retrospect, right? They say the path is behind you. Yeah. You look back and you go, "Oh yeah, I can see how that experience in admissions or experience in learning abroad, or experience somewhere else has really set you up for this kind of deeper engagement in more senior roles."
Yeah.
It's an interesting journey, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looking forward now. We are in the time, I was in the board of IEAA for a couple of years. I was even the deputy convener for the marketing and recruitment for IEAA network. So I'm at that stage. I'm to looking back and want to give it back to the community and the younger professionals. I'm having a session at AIC also this year. So I'm looking forward to now share the knowledge with the rest of the community.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't come back to something you just said, which was that your mum was a storyteller.
Yeah.
Can you remember a favourite story, one of your favourite stories that she used to tell?
I think storyteller, and then she's a philosopher as well. One thing she always used to tell me, that you dream big and you will grow the dream you had. So it's a very nice way. She used to always say that. And even today also, she always mentioned that sort of thing, that dream big and you will grow up to that dream.
How do you say it in Bangladeshi? Can you say it? Yeah, is there an expression that you can use?
Yeah.
I just love that.
I got
It's
it.
beautiful, right?
I got it. Yeah, I think she used to say in Bengali, "Manush tar স্বপ্নের সমান বড় হয়."
I don't know what it means, but it sounds beautiful, right?
It's the same meaning. Yeah. People would grow up to what they dream about.
Up to the size of their dreams. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the way. But of course, traveling also, I think that, traveling changed my perception as well. I still remember, like, people sometimes realize that I might be a Pakistani origin or something, but of course, I have nothing to do with Pakistan. When I first arrived in Pakistan, that also maybe the 15, 16 years back, due to the media and all this sort of thing, I was so hesitant to go there. And then still I remember my first night in Pakistan when in the midnight I heard about some sirens, whether it's some ambulance or police, I don't know. But I couldn't sleep first night. So those were the things. When you do the travel, then you see the real thing, and then you can really think that what is the difference between the media, the way it is coming, and what is in reality. I've been to Iran many times. Oh, awesome place! Like,
I was going to say, that must be devastating now when you see what's happened there.
Of course,
Just
of course, not in the recent days. Of course, I'm sorry to see those things, but I traveled many times in that country. And such a great place to visit. And there was a funny story even, like Iran was a place, like, it's hard to book, finding the online booking and all those sort of things. You do email and sometimes you do the phone conversation. I still remember that was the time before COVID. I ended up going to that particular hotel and I said that, okay, here is me and here's my passport. And they said, sorry, we didn't find your room booking. I said, are you sure? I did book it. It says my email and all this sort of thing. Sorry, unfortunately, I couldn't find you. Then I think from the back, the manager came in and then he said, hang on, what's the date? And then whatever the date it was, he said, that, hang on, just 1 second. Then they went to their assistant and guess what? It was on the next year. He said that when you filled up that online, whatever the form, the PDF form, I think you selected I can't remember the year.
Check-out date instead of the check-in date.
Or check-out, and I literally put the wrong year, which yet to come at that time.
Oh, no.
So they had the booking for my following year booking, not that year.
And so what did you do? Did they have a room or was it just...
No, unfortunately.
Book sold.
They're always sold out. So I had to, call my travel agent, local one, and then I had to go to the new hotel. But again, those sort of stories and how the people behave and how you manage yourself, always, treasure in our life experience.
It's such a journey, isn't it? Because you imagine, like, if that sort of strikes you young in your career, it can be quite paralyzing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking, like, one time I was, it's a similar story, but different. I was looking after a group of inbound students who come to Australia when I was here at Macquarie. And we'd taken them out to Alice Springs. Same thing, we arrived at the hotel and they said, oh, who are you guys? And I said, oh, the group from Macquarie. And they just said, you guys never paid us. So, like, we made the booking, we just never paid them. And so they said, oh, well, we'll see if we can get you in, but we're not sure. So there was this short period, like 20 minutes, where I'm standing there as a 22-year-old with a group of 15 or 20 people going like, oh my God, what do I do? I called my boss. Like, I didn't know what to do, so I called my boss. And it's funny now, because now I look at that and be like, okay, I'll know how to sort of have some ideas about how to attack it. But it's quite an interesting growth curve when you're going in and doing stuff like international travel for the first time by yourself. Where was your first international trip for work then? So, I mean, obviously you studied in India.
Yeah, studied in India. Then I went back to Bangladesh. Yep. I was a lecturer in one of the universities, worked there for a couple of years with the admin work. And then I migrated here. Yeah, so CQ, I worked, of course, in the admission area. Then when I came here also, I was the first international admission manager for Macquarie University.
Nice.
Then, coincidentally, I just jumped into the marketing and the business development team late, I think, around 2010-ish. Yeah, I think I went to South Asia, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Those were my first countries travel on behalf of the university. Yeah.
Is there somewhere on your travel list that you haven't been to yet that you're like throwing at If I could give you a golden ticket out of Macquarie Airport, flying anywhere in the world, direct, first class, where would you fly to?
I think I traveled many countries, but yeah, like there are lots of places I would love to travel. As you know, that Africa is a country where we are, as an international education sector, we are having lots of challenges, but the opportunities are there. I would say that, yeah, love to explore the world of Africa and love to have the right connections and the right business model in between the Australia and Africa. And again, for that, we need to change the ESOS Amendment Bill. There are so many things behind the scene.
Yeah, we do. It's funny you mention that, actually. It just made me think, like, a friend of mine who's in recruitment flicked me a text message, maybe going back 2 years. So, as you know, I do a YouTube channel, and I can't remember where he was, somewhere in deepest Africa. And he'd flicked me through a text, and on the video, on the TV screen, in this agent office somewhere in the middle of nowhere, they were playing my YouTube video. It's like, that bloke over there in the hat looks familiar to me. So it's interesting where you show up.
Absolutely, absolutely. With this, all the social media channels and the technology, what we are having, I think that's the way. It's connectivity is there. Is now people like us, we need to find a bridge. So I'm sure lots of colleagues like me, we are working on it, and we are looking for that sort of Africa is a continent and billions of people. So yeah, we like to have that inclusivity from that. Yeah,
It's interesting because, once again, the reputation of Australian education is penetrating there as aspirational and quality and all these good positive words. And then just thinking back to here again, like, once again, and then in the newspaper, Australian unis are once again getting beaten around the head for whatever, thing we've done wrong. I find it quite frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the things. If I get, we'll do those sort of things. Another thing I always feel that our younger generation, there's no such education for the international education. You can't be an international admission officer. There's no training. There's no diploma course. To become a regional director or manager, there's no such thing. So that is another thing. I think there is an opportunity of that education piece. That is also, I think, is missing in the sector. Same thing, when we go overseas, we hire who are our foot soldiers, our agents. But who are these agents? It's the businessmen. No. Under them, we call them counselors, student counselors. Again, they're coming from engineering background, like all over the world, like whether it's a master's, English, or whatever the background there. There's no such one pace that which would train them in such a logical way about the international education, not only for Australia, but across the globe, like whether it's the US or this sort of thing. So of course, we do have some QEC, PIR certification here and there, but that's not enough. That's just a certificate. Anyone can do it within 24 hours. But we do need a robust system where we can have onshore people trained, offshore people trained, so that they can really contribute in the ecosystem in a sustainable way.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? I just was thinking about that from a, psychological point of view, mental availability, and across society. I mean, you go to uni and you train to become an engineer.
Yeah.
Or you go to uni and you train to become a teacher.
Yeah.
But you don't go to uni to train to become an international educator.
Exactly. And that's why, I told you that I really appreciate your podcast, your YouTube, because these are the side ways. Sometimes it's feeding that purpose, at least the up-to-date knowledge.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the Koala News and those sort of things. But we need to think beyond these borders. Like of course, in Africa, your video has been shown. the same thing, like that could be the way. But of course, how much we can't give you all the responsibility. But think about that. That sort of opportunities are there. And there is a big hole. When we are talking with our recruitment agents, and one of the biggest challenge, if we ask them that, okay, what is your challenge? And always they say that finding the right counselor and then the attrition of those counselors. Because as soon as they learn something, another one hiring them. So there is no such schools or the education pace to build those counselors. Whereas we are hearing that 20% unemployment rate, 10% unemployment rate in that country, this country. But this is a great sector where they can contribute. But is that missing piece of that education in that sector?
Do you think AI is going to disrupt that? Like disrupt advising, counseling?
I think we can certainly do something. AI, I used to have some online modules, but I think it needs more on that. Yeah.
There's something I've been thinking about a lot lately is the fact that so much is about trust. You're trying to make this huge decision, whether it's traveling from the other side of the world to come here, or maybe from a low SES background in Western Sydney or Western Melbourne, and you're trying to decide whether you're going to be the first in your family to go to uni. And that's a huge call. And in the end, I mean, there's courage involved in that, but there's also this massive trust factor. Is like, who do I trust as the people to advise me? Who do I trust for my source of information? And I think that's going to become more and more challenging for not just institutions, but society as a whole.
Absolutely.
Anyone that's trying to market, sell a message, give a message.
Absolutely. And think about the other side of the story. The parents, whether it's China, whether it's India, anywhere you call it, these students are paying hefty lot of tuition fees. And then the parents are relying on that education counselors. Sometimes they don't even understand the English. So we rely on our Chinese counselors to translate and all those sort of things. So think about how important that piece is, that parents giving their whole life saving for their next generation to send them to USA or Australia or UK, and relying on that counselors, and we don't have a education pace for them. So from the university or from the provider's perspective, we are trying our best to keeping them up to date and all this sort of thing. But that's not their career. They just been there or be there by default somehow. So I think there's an opportunity on that. Certainly, I'm looking forward to contribute to that sort of area as well.
If you could wave a magic wand and solve any one major problem in Australian, let's call it higher education, Turkey, right now, what would it be?
I would say that I would say that cooperation in between the universities with the government bodies. I think that is a bit tensed at this moment. Of course, it's getting better, but I think we all need to work in a collaborative way, in a sustainable way, in between the government and the university and the private providers all together. It's a fantastic piece of work. I'm not sure whether you heard about a person called Robin Kuda. He's a alumni, like international education entrepreneur in Australia now. He's now one of the richest person in Australia because of his one giga project. Search him, Robin Kuda. And recently he even donated $100 million to University of Sydney for recruiting women in engineering from Western Sydney area. And he's an international student. So there are lots of examples out there, the contribution the international education students are doing beside their day-to-day operation. Now our lowest, our minimum wage? $24.95 per hour. Who on earth now in Australia you'd work $25 every hour, but the international students, they do work. So the contribution in many ways, I'm giving you the highest level when people can earn billions of dollars, but I'm also telling you that the minimum wage, in both dimensions, we are seeing the international students of the alumni are contributing to Australia.
That's so on point. Yeah, it's just seeing like this feed, like this news feed of good stories, right? Like, because they're almost unlimited. Well, there's almost unlimited volume of incredible impacts that's being created by people across our community, our international students, our local students who've gone and done a new Colombo Plan experience somewhere in the Asia Pac and coming back to contribute. And yet that's so much of that just kind of drifts out into the, just drifts off into life in general, right? Because people continue to build their own stories and we don't celebrate it.
That's another thing.
Yeah,
except IEAA dinner. Dinner.
And we will be celebrating, for those of you listening along, AIEC in Canberra this year. Don't miss out. I think super early. I know the early birds have already closed. You just got to get those tickets because they will be full, like the conference will fill out this year because it's only a smaller cohort. So make sure you get your tickets quickly.
Yeah.
What have you seen the conference dinner theme for this year? It's a night at the museum.
I think it's a museum. Yeah.
Any thoughts about costumes? You can dress her up, right? Actually, for the conference dinner.
Generally, I'm not. I don't have time, but I think this time I'm quite impressed with the theme. So I'm waiting to have something from South Asia. I ordered something. It's coming.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome. Well, I'm not sure when we're going to drop this episode, but if it's post AIEC dinner, I'll make sure I drop a photo into the description. Otherwise, we'll have to catch up with you again at some point, Tanveer, to share those stories. Well, Tanveer, it's been Really lovely to connect with you and to chat here on Global Horizons on this awesome campus. It must really feel like home to you after 17 years.
Absolutely. And happy to have you as well. I always think that, and of course, being here for a long time, I always feel that Rome hasn't built in one day. So I like to thank you as well, being a former employee at this university and, of course, the student. Because of all of your contribution, we are here today.
You're a gentleman, Tanveer. It's my great pleasure to have contributed to this place. In small, one brick over there in the old E7B. Okay, one brick. It's not even E7B. It's something else these days. There we go. If you know, you know.
Oh, one thing, though. I do have something for you. This is a special Macquarie goodie bag. And we love to show you this one.
Boy.
Thank you. Your water will test really better with this one.
So for those listening along, that is a really amazing water bottle, isn't it?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's really unique.
Yeah. We made it for our open day, which was in August. So yeah, still a few left over there. And
Awesome.
And your coffee will taste really good with this, hopefully.
You know what? Are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know how
how important
it is. And it's funny, that red really, I just love the branding, to be honest. So I know back in the day, we had the lighthouse was our logo.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then it disappeared for a while, and they moved to these kind of really bold reds.
Now the lighthouse.
Now we've got the lighthouse back
With the
now.
star.
That's beautiful. Bold red. That's very generous of you. That makes me feel even more at home.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, mate. It's been awesome chatting with on Global Horizons. Thanks so much, Tanveer.
Thank you so much, Raul. My pleasure.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Global Horizons podcast, consider subscribing to our newsletter. Search for Global Horizons podcast and then just pop in your email address, and that way you will never miss out on all the critical international education news that you need to stay up to date with. This episode has been produced on Garigal land in Sydney. Our video and audio editor is Len Zamora, and I'm your host, Rob Malicki. Have an awesome day. See you in the next episode.